Okay, story time is over. We are at the game lobby for this round of 8 game, which is going to be Sofanda's Tibbers versus LPO. Looks like the first ban's going to be Fizz, which that's a target ban against RC9. He's really good at Fizz, guys. He's one of the best Fizz players that we've got in our arsenal. I think the best Fizz player that we have might be Wolferer, and those are the only two that jump out at me as being like the top guys. I wonder what would happen if we had them play a best of 5 1v1 bot lane Fizz against each other. It'd probably be the worst thing we could ever cast, because it would be nothing but playful trickster denies all day long, and not a single bit of damage would be dealt that day. Never mind, that sounds awful. Let's not do that. So the chat bans. Fizz, Kastan, Jarvan, and Kha'Zix. See that Cass and Kha'Zix ban once again. Kha'Zix being the most powerful AD assassin on this map because of his ability to engage and disengage and the damage he deals. Same thing for Kastan, but Kastan is ability power is magic damage instead. Jarvan, strangely being banned. Jarvan's a character we typically do not see banned, but he has and line effect AoE airborne. He has the ability to spawn terrain, brings us slow to the table. He's an all-around good character. He can go really tanky, he can go really glassy and damage dealing kind of guy. Very flexible. And then we're also seeing that Fizz ban, which is really useful against RC9. Fizz is also a very powerful champ in general. Does a ton of magic damage. Can do bottom lane or top lane. Sets up ganks very, very well with Chum the Waters. It's good stuff. One time, Java PS players were actually bannable. That is something that happened one time. Is there a Twitter for this stream? At DominateDominion on Twitter. And bam! Dat overlay, son. Look at it. Look at it. It's red.
Ada has chat bans.
Looks awesome.
I mean, summoner blockers.
But there you go. First ban, wow, Maokai. So Maokai and Jarvan, probably the two most picked tanky champs in all of Dominion. Both banned. The two best assassins, also banned. The best poke in the game for this map, Nidalee, banned. What else can they ban? They banned arguably number 2 Fizz, NA, from RC9. Lulu, banned as well. Oh, that's right, Generic can also play some Fizz. That's also something that occurs. Lulu being banned as well. Lulu is a very interesting character. You have to be extremely skilled at using her. And if you are, she's an absolute nightmare. In the hands of the average player, she's not really that special. I know this after going through 57 events worth of post-game screenshots and finding that Zmike has never lost a game with Lulu in competition. And when you look at everybody else, they just have 50% win rates with her. Some have less than that. So Lulu is extremely dangerous in the right hands. Infeed also plays some pretty solid Lulu. And so does Aish, I believe, is the other one that's played Lulu and done really well. Everyone else seems to only do so-so. Zyra being banned. Zyra has the best zoning on this map. An extreme amount of damage while doing so. So best zoning and area control. Wukong's initiation is amazing. Armor reduction is also good. And then Jace. I'd say Jace has the second best poke on this map. Good idea to take him out.
Jace is actually not someone we see targeted too much anymore. The most recent nerf to him actually was pretty meaningful.
Icy Fire. I don't say RCIX because his name is Arkix There's a lot of different ways to pronounce Arkix's name.
Is it remote control? Remote control 9.
Twitch chat. RC9, don't spoil it. I want everyone to guess what the R and C stand for in RC9. I just want to see some guesses. And then afterward, we will maybe he will tell us after the next game. That'd be really cool. So we're gonna see
Brand
Timo?
was left open this game. He was banned last game.
Yes.
And Timo also left open. I would have actually expected Timo to be banned as opposed to Jace. But I don't know. Do they have a huge Jace player?
Not in particular. Jace is just problematic to deal with because he can just leave the fight and shoot you, or stay in the fight and hit you with a hammer. Like, you can't kite Jace like you can with most bruisers because he has a gun. So, you have to be careful about that. And if you want to get in his face, well, he can fight pretty handily and then just disengage whenever and then shoot you. Like, Jace is just hard to deal with like that. Teemo being picked up, a lot of magic damage. Blinds are amazing. If you've ever been any AD champion on the receiving end of a Teemo, you're just like, well, I'll just take a bunch of extra damage for a few seconds. And then, he also has some map control. Actually, Brand and Pantheon picked up as well. That's a pair of stuns for the team. Brand has very powerful zoning ability, not nearly on the level that Zyra does, but his is also very strong because he forces opponents to stay spread out because of the threat of Pyroclasm and Pillar of Flame. Because if you collapse, Brand will eat your entire team alive. So you have to stay spread out. But when you stay spread out, you can get picked off by whatever assassin or other single target bursty champ they might pick up. And Pantheon's global map presence because of Grand Skyfall is nice. Pantheon can drop in and save points. He does a lot of damage too. He's good at finishing targets off. We're seeing Leona and Talon.
Whoa, that is a Leona pick. That is not something we see very often.
Sure. Leona
is strong, but not picked very often at all.
Yeah, Leona's engage is good with the Zenith Blade, and her ability to just chase and keep people chain stunned is very, very high. Also, AoE stun, great. It's great to have around. Eclipse makes for a good dive. And, guys, be nice. Rheingold just doesn't pull the Leona games very much. Yeah, Leona, the downside to Leona is Leona actually tends to be a little bit squishy sometimes. She's pretty darn durable when Eclipse is up, but when Eclipse is down, she gets damaged. But her chase is amazing. We are seeing... So we're probably going to see that Talon up top, I would imagine, because they have Nyx playing. Nyx, stop scaring me, man. You're picking champs that don't bottom lane very good. I'm afraid you might lag and get stuck with one. I'm scared, dude. And then Nyx 87 does a lot of bottom lane gameplay. So I expect him to run bottom lane, but who knows? Over on the other side, we are seeing another Vi pick. We saw one in the first game. We're going to see one in this game as well. And also, Janna. Janna's a good support character, brings a lot of crowd control to the table.
Single best counter to Leona in the entire game. It's like one of the hardest counters, Janna against Leona.
Janna is, in addition to that being an awful matchup for Leo, she's just good on top of everything else because of her speed manipulation, which is great. That extra movement speed globally on an already small map. It's just, I want to like just keep talking about it, but I think I've driven it home. She's good. And then we do have that lock-on over on the other side. We have a Riven. Riven's a good bruiser. Riven's just solid as a pick. Just remember, she has a ranged attack, and it will destroy you. Just always be prepared for that. Wind Slash will end you.
Wind Slash is a pretty strong execute.
Let's see, what do we have going on here comp-wise?
It's gonna be Victor bot lane. Probably.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, well, it could be maybe Pantheon? But GP, okay, so GP, like, will beat Leona, but Janna will make her entire team destroy the Leona.
I think most of this game, though, is going to come down to what the heck is going on with Victor. I also see Kaiser-esque in the chat talking about, you know, what I had said about Riven. Riven's a solid champion, and she does fall victim to what all the other AD champs in the game fall victim to, is they need a good solid engage. Riven's is an extraordinarily short range. She kind of has to walk up on people. You know, Pantheon's another character that has a short range engage that he really benefits from having a tank around. A lot of champions have that issue. But with that Leo pick, it's going to help Riven be able to get to the fight pretty handily. I'm really interested to see this RC9 Victor, because we don't get to see a lot of Victor. Maybe I'll move this down. Does that work? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Victor has a stun, his range is good, and his dot is ridiculous. It's just brutal. So he's really good at killing people. I'm trying to figure out who they have bottom. If they're going to run Riven bottom, I think she's going to get bodied by Victor. I mean, she does have the shield, but I feel like Victor's damage is going to far outdo whatever she can generate. We could also potentially see Brand bottom, Vic up top. That's something that could occur. 2 garrisons on their team, which means they're going to be more focused on holding points. Does give them some dive potential. On the other side, we are seeing an Ignite on North Paw's Teemo, and there's not a particularly prime Ignite target on the other side, but it's still a useful spell to have. CV on Golly, having a CV is very good.
Yeah, CV,
Barrier on Brand is really strange to me, though.
Especially on a map that has no wards, CV is just so useful in allowing you safe passage through the middle of the map, in allowing you to know that your bot lane is safe from a gank right now, in allowing you to find pickoffs early. Think of CV as replacing the chance that the enemy might sit in a bush that you have warded. Instead, it's the chance that you might catch out the enemy with the clairvoyance. And so you want to have 1 CV per team frequently. And then the question is, who doesn't need another spell the most? Now, Leona is a terrible, terrible, terrible 1v1 duelist, because the majority of her damage comes from her passive procs, and she can't proc that herself. So she's the least likely on her team to actually be alone. And so you put the clairvoyance on her, and then she's almost certainly going to be paired with someone else, and then they can use the exhaust that her partner has.
On unrelated note, I found out North Paw lives, like, down the street from me. Like, 20 minutes. It's kind of interesting. The Dominion community is awesome. Also, if anyone's going to be in Texas on the 19th, they're going to be in the Fort Worth area. I'm going to be in town to watch my friend's band play. If you want to hang out, it's going to be at Tomcats West in Fort Worth on October 19th. It's a PM kind of thing, so it'll happen in the later hours of the evening. More info, come talk to me after the stream. I'll be on League. I'm going to be playing some Xin Zhao tonight. If anyone wants in on that pre-made, let me know. I need some crowd control because it's hard to get into a fight as Xin Zhao if I want to still save the dash to be able to chase people, should they use their own disengage. Okay, there we go. Okay. That was redundant okay, but y'all know what I'm talking about. This game, this is going to be the round of 8 game. This is going to be LPO, last possible option, question mark. versus Sofanda's Bear Tibbers. Sofanda's team consisting of Generic playing as Lise, Golly playing as Leona, Armed Weasel playing as Talon, Northpaw playing as Teemo, and Nix87 playing as Riven. I am one half of your commentators. I am Gander, and commentating with me is...
Rangle River, and the other half of the players is LPO. At least, what is it? Last possible option? Question mark.
Yes.
Ragnarok on Vi, Spawn Legacy playing Pantheon, Afro Destiny on Janna, Bahamut Prime going to be on Brand, and RC9 rounding out their lineup with Victor.
If anyone's wondering why LPO is listed as last possible option question mark in the bracket, their team captain wasn't available today, and only the team captains can check people in on Mobifier, which means they actually had to remake a new team with a different team captain in order to actually play. That's just a limitation in the website. So it's still LPO, like the way LPO is normally, but there were just some shenanigans with who was offline online.
See, I would just make sure that the team captain password and account info was known by everyone on the team.
Ooh. Ooh.
That
Well, wait,
way
no,
I
hold
could
on.
overthrow
There's
my
also...
team captain.
Yeah, that also has, that means that person has to be on the roster, though, is the other thing. So you end up a roster slot short, which can be icky.
I see.
I mean, subs are still allowed, so you have the -1, but then you have like a sub, but it still can be icky to have that negative slot. You don't want that. Maybe that's why their team name is last possible option, because it was their last possible option to play.
I get it.
There you go. Not a lot talked about, guys. Items all opening pretty standard. Boots, Pro Blades, Leo going for the Ruby Crystals. Those get turned into things later on. Victor going for the nothing yet. He just has his normal Hex Core. And Janna has a Delicious Treat in her inventory. Let's watch Janna's bird.
It unfortunately does not give a Poro snack on this map. It should just give a Poro snack on every map, regardless of whether the map has Poros. Howling Gale primed there, and it will not interrupt Teemo, but he will pretend that it was going to.
It does interrupt Teemo, because it forces him back so that he does not take damage. That's a really good play from Afro Dynasty's Janna. I like it.
So about a third of a cap, maybe a little bit less, and they're actually going for the cap again. There's a knockup from Janna. Deathray comes across. I'm really sad that he doesn't have an ability called Ice Beam. That would be so cool. But Pantheon is going to go in, gets shielded by Janna. He's going to get focused down by Talon. The Ray comes across. He's still alive. The exhaust onto Elise. She goes down despite the repel. Now Ragnarok getting focused by Teemo. A lot of damage there. There's a stun from Leona. A lot more damage. Has the potion. Leona just needs the Zenith Blade and is going to send her to the other side of the fight. There's a gravity well from Victor. Gets the stun onto Leona, but now she gets the stun onto him with her Q. And that's going to be the windmill fight over pretty quickly. Pantheon was just not quite tanky enough and didn't have the immediate backup from the gravity field from Victor.
And Pantheon moving up to the top part of the map has to threaten the capture, which is going to keep people around the windmill. You can't safely recall if there's an enemy hanging out that could potentially capture that. Leona is going to get a free trip back to Summoner Platform. Very unfortunate. Being in this area of the map on either side is a gigantic liability because it allows people to cut you off from pretty much every direction possible.
She just wanted the extra health from the revive.
That's, you know, there you go. Yeah, use that revive, get back, get that extra health boost. You can only get it if you're dead. Trade that for 300 hit points. Why not? Great Heartseeker strike from Spawn Legacy, though. Takes Zenith Blade for his troubles, gets picked up by Leo. And that repel coming down for Vi. They're going to let Janna go for now. Ooh, good interception.
Life. Yeah, she's going to have time to get out now. Zenith Blade not in range. There's the Q from Elise. Just kidding, Neurotoxin was enough. I thought that Victor and Janna would actually be able to distract there, but I don't think Victor was actually ever in range for a Gravity Well, so couldn't get that slow off. Vi couldn't quite get enough cooldown on her Vault Breaker back. It's actually still a 13-second cooldown. I'm used to late game Vi's, where that cooldown really starts to go down.
Stun on RC9. He is going to get repelled upon as well. Taken down by Talon. Is going to zone, though, because of the ultimate to keep the interruption going. Pantheon coming down with the Grand Skyfall. Arm Weasel gets kicked out. And Golly picked off as well. Northpaw chipping away at Spawn Legacy.
Generic lived with about 10 HP there.
That's a 2-digit number and is very small.
It is a very small 2-digit number. It's actually the largest 2-digit number, but, you know, or wait, 10 too. I was thinking one-digit numbers. You know what? Let's just pretend I don't ever talk.
So Spawn Legacy is hanging out up at the top part of the map. Minions getting picked up, free money for their team. Elise heading down towards the lower part of the map. Looks like she's going to be going for a gank on Brand and needs to bail out Riven a little bit too, it seems, because Riven's HP is getting dangerously cheesy.
But they should be able to pick up the kill on a Brand here pretty easily. Dash forward, E forward, and Brand gets an E. But Nyx gets the kill. And kills are more important than E's.
Brand coming back with his revive. Nyx has to get on out of there with his 66 hit points. I was really worried that Generic was going to kite the minion over to him somehow, and then he was going to get erupted and then killed by that pillar of flame, but it did not happen that way.
See, this is because they're trying to win the game instead of trying to kill their teammates.
There's a perfect example there of Hextech Sweeper where it would have been useful. It's not completed yet on Leona. Leo only has the Kindle Gem component, but that could have been entirely avoided with a little bit of vision. I guess maybe CV was down. I didn't quite see when that fight broke out, but it was just a very unfortunate situation to be caught in.
Yeah, getting those vision items is just so huge. And even if neither team has stealth, there's the stealth of talent, but LPO doesn't have any stealth. Just being able to see in bushes on command. Sofanda has the CV, but CV's still on cooldown. You really want to be able to just get vision more frequently than that, and you want to get that item as soon as you can.
Good stun on Ragnarok is going to keep him just a couple steps away from being able to click the tower to interrupt the neutral. So that's going to be a little bit of a stall on the clock, and Ragnarok taking a lot of damage. Armed Weasel over the wall. Going to be able to pick that up. Victor with the Gravity Wall. Pantheon coming in to finish off Armed Weasel. Is going to get close enough? Yes, he is. Takes him down. Victor actually puts it to KB with his ultimate. And
that ult looks so cool.
It's very pretty. It's also a lot easier to see that way, too, than the cloud is, especially on this background.
I wanted to say that the death ray wasn't quite a death ray, maybe just an ice beam, and then Pantheon was able to pick up the kill. But he didn't pick up the kill with a freeze ray, so it makes it a little bit worse. Teemo with a poison ray gets that, and solar flare not going to hit. Janna coming in, defensive garrison goes down, and Dahlia going to try and capture a little bit. That's just to stop the tower from attacking them, and Afro Dynasty may have bit off a little bit more than he could chew. Trying to channel that Monsoon there. RC9 wants to be a hero, but what's the use in being a hero if the point goes over to the other team anyway on the quest objective?
Yeah, he was just trying to delay for as long as he could. Couldn't quite get in range to tag Elise. Just wanted to buy a couple more seconds. Not able to do so, unfortunately. Shoutouts to Zermov for breaking the mod combo. I appreciate that in the Twitch chat. Bahamut coming down the lower part of the map. Riven coming around the back. Ragnarok sees it, waits for Nyx to get there, then just doesn't bother to reveal himself. Lets Nyx get all the way extended to that side, and oh dear, that combo on Nyx getting taken down very, very quickly.
Yeah, the Seer missed from Brand, but it didn't even matter because there was enough CC and enough damage anyway. Spawn Legacy now, though, he's getting focused down a little bit, but he has his passive, and so he survives for a while, long enough to get the stun onto Generic, and Generic is going to go down ultimately. Ragnarok lives.
Barely.
Ragnarok has not come for Ragnarok.
No, it has not. Armed Weasel has stopped the end of the world. Does take some damage from Brand in the process. Armed Weasel is going to have to babysit the tower for a couple of moments. And up at the top, looks like RC9 and Afro Dynasty were able to keep the enemies away from that drill. They went immediately for that push when they saw how many people were down the lower part of the map, and they weren't able to pick it up.
Yeah, it's always important to be able to defend points when everyone goes to one part of the map. If you lose an objective to just pick up a kill, it's really not worth it.
And Nyx knows Bahamut's down there, dashes in, both of them trade stuns with each other. Bahamut's taking some damage. Riven activating the ultimate, there's the exhaust, Riven's going for it. Arm Weasel coming down, there's a good pyroclasm, plenty of bounces once Weasel shows up. Bahamut gets picked up, and Spawn Legacy gonna come down, shut that entire thing down.
You can't underestimate pyroclasm. If you are two people and you're ganking a Brand, you have to make sure that at some point in time you're going to be split off from each other. Otherwise, you're pretty much guaranteed to be taken so low that one of Brand's allies will be close enough to pick up a counter kill.
And that pyroclasm was so close to not getting any bounces at all either, with the timing that Arm Weasel had in arriving.
Afro Dynasty forcing himself to stay on the point for just a little bit longer as Grand Skyfall comes in, but he goes down could have walked away maybe a little bit. Northpaw does not go down. There's a Teemo Shroom spawn. Legacy will dodge it out. And they don't want to kite into that brush. Don't do it. There's a Shroom there. Alright, they're going to be fine.
Bomb point is still under the control of LPO's team. LPO doing a really good job up against Sofanda's team. And that bottom point, Ragnarok is just sort of installed there, like a USB that you don't know has that little clip on the side that keeps it from being pulled out normally, and you have to find out where the switch is in the dark in order to disengage the latch. Nyx and Ragnarok getting into an engagement. That tower damage, please respect it, Nyx. Even with Riven's shield, still has to fall back.
It does a lot, and Riven 182 AD, that's a lot, but it's not an oh my god, god mode Riven. Those spiderlings just saved Elise's life so hard.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get it on camera because I kicked my mouse cord and knocked my camera completely off of it. I'm sorry, guys.
Basically, the spiderlings tanked all of the pyroclasm, and so Elise didn't get hit by a single tick of it.
Oh,
now
wow.
chasing onto Brand, but Ragnarok is going to deflect.
And Generic is keeping two people pinned down there, which means there's an imbalanced fight on an opposite side of the map. Spawn Legacy and Afro getting low on health. Spawn Legacy is going to die to the poison ticking out from Northpaw. Northpaw picking up the double kill.
Starting to have a lot of damage on Teemo there. He's annoying and he has a ton of damage, and he is going to go down to that adorable little Chaos Storm.
It's such a happy little guy in the middle of that. He's just so delightful. And oh dear, that exhaust on Ragnarok making me a little bit more damage from Talon before he's taken out completely. Golly switching over to RC9 to get the interrupt. And one more tower shot. No, it's going to be denied. Minions, however, are going to pick it up. Go, little caster minion guy. So helpful.
So Generic and Nyx are trying to get something happen at bot, but I don't think they're going to be able to. They're starting to get... The game is actually a lot more even than I thought. I actually thought that Sofanda was winning pretty hard, but looking at the score now, the Nexus health is very even right now. Current 3-cap belongs to Sofanda, but I don't expect it to last for too long here.
Brand in the bottom lane. His time is short. Silenced, slowed, everything bad happening to Brand at once. This will be interesting. Nothing's going to happen. Neither one of them sees each other. Oh, never mind. Generic is going to get spotted by Ragnarok. They know where Elise is. Talon coming up from the bottom gets chased away as well. And now Leo coming down from the center part of the map. Could even things up.
Needs to be careful here.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Armed Weasel is a pretty scary Talon right now. 191 AD and a ton of armor pen there. Makes for not something that a Squishy wants to deal with.
Yeah, good RNG
here
on the
for
crit.
a little peel for Pantheon, but Brand needs to come also. With Brand here, they might actually be able to pick something up. Generic is meanwhile caught on the other side. There's the Chaos Storm again.
Look at it go! Floating after Generic. Oh dear! That was not very good for Generic. Great Howling Gale. There's the slow on Northpaw, and they're just chipping away at him with some ranged damage. Bahamut, oh dear, kicking him back.
That Monsoon was not an ideal timing. They might be able to get the kill on the Nyx still, but it's going to cost Brand's life now. He actually almost managed to pick up something else though, but Afro Dynasty is now caught out. Has a shield, but doesn't have enough ability power to actually turn that and pick up 2 kills. If it was a straight ability power Janna, she maybe could have bursted them through, but then she wouldn't have had the survivability, and building towards the Moonflare Spellblade instead with the defense items first, I think is a decent choice.
Yeah, Howling Gale wouldn't have been able to pick them up there either. It was pretty close to Janna maybe being able to clean up, but not quite. Min's going to turn this tower around. That's going to secure the buff.
The plus.
Yes.
Yeah. And Brand just gets melted by Elise. This time, the Spiderlings are going to cost her life, but not before she gets the kill on the Brand.
And the minions actually looked like they might have picked that up.
Yeah, I think they would have.
Even without Ragnarok. Ragnarok there just there for the extra insurance anyway. Tries to cut in front of Nyx to deny that health relic. Not quite able to do so. And now Armed Weasel in the fight. There's that Wid Slash. Remember, guys, Riven has a ranged attack. Have to be aware of that.
I think he would have gone down anyway, just to the damage out of Talon. Gali getting chased now as Zephyr comes down. And generally, Leona's thought of as being countered by Janna because Janna is so good at running away from her, but Janna's also really good at chasing her.
There's the sweeper. Oh, look, mushrooms.
Let's not walk into that bush.
Exactly.
It looks like it might kill us.
Guys, keep your Hextech sweepers because they reveal those Teemo mushrooms. They give you so much vital information. Top part of the map, Janna trying to defend it. There's plenty of minions up there. Spawn Legacy, all shields for days on Spawn Legacy. Still gets taken down, though.
Yeah, and there's the CC out of Leona. That Solar Flare is so long range. Xena's Blade goes in. Ragnarok gets focused down. Deathray comes across. They get the kill onto Elise. The Blast Shield helping Vi for so long. But it is just a Blast Shield. It is not an invulnerability.
But if it were, that would be frightening. C9 by himself at the drill is going to go for a recall. Ooh, that recall animation. Man, Riot's getting great with these recall animations. They get better with every one that they make. Because that one on Victor's good. The Renekton one is... It is so happy.
Nothing will ever come close to the Renekton one. It's impossible.
You just have to go jumping around the map with another Renekton one day. It's amazing.
So close! So close. They don't quite get the point. Bran getting focused by Riven. There's a stun from that Valor. Wind Slash goes across. I don't think it actually hits Spawn Legacy, but that W is going to. And Bran in the middle of 3 champions can't quite survive. Go, minion! Go! Can you do it? No! One more. I don't even know what to call it because it's not an auto attack.
One more little doot? I don't know.
The sad story of the poor little purple minion who almost could.
Garrison down in the bottom lane's gonna deny that. Nyx, whoa! Nyx, you're still alive, man. Go home. Get your gray health bar out of here.
He's gonna do that. Actually staying for a little bit longer. That's gonna be his death.
Oh, see, now he gets to go home.
That was actually really, really greedy of him to do that. Oh, the shield!
Oh dear.
Power transfer is it gives you a shield in addition to doing damage to them.
When your gray health bar is larger than your normal health bar, it might be time to recall. Look at this. Just look at that. It's so cool.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Maybe I should get the skin.
Spawn Legacy at the top of the map. His presence alone up there says that, hey, we need to dedicate someone on our team to being up at that top point no matter what in case he decides to try to cap it. And Golly getting off the point, but it's okay because he is Leona. Teemo has range damage. He can stay pretty safely back. Ragnarok being chased down. That seems to be their primary focus target at the moment. Janna keeping Ragnarok alive. Finally gets clipped down by Talon's ultimate.
So that was almost a good fight for LPO. They executed it pretty well, but they just didn't have enough damage. And the other problem is that they started out with their focus onto Leona. And focusing onto Leona is never a good idea. Given that they had focused on Leona, the rest of the fight went okay. But
run over Mushroom, shield yourself, let Victor wander off and get killed by Elise. Janna, why? It's not very friendly of you. Nyx, oh dear, kites Bahamut Prime straight into Armed Weasel's damage.
It has the barrier.
And then takes the kill anyway. That's great. Spawn Legacy now in the bottom by himself. Has to defend against 3 people. Oh dear, that damage from Armed Weasel not to be trifled with.
Yeah, LPO is just roaming around the map alone a little bit too much this game. And the fact that there's a Leona in the composition of Sofanda pretty much forces them to roam in packs because, like I was saying during the Champion Select, Leona just doesn't do that well on her own. And so that means that LPO has the possibility of taking more map control by being a little bit more spread out, but they also have the possibility of all dying because they're more spread out. And it's just seemed recently that they've all been dying because they're too spread out.
And Spawn Legacy looks like he is finally going to get his windmill neutral. But at least he's on the way up to stop the full cap. Yeah, he'll get the neutral though. There you go.
He barely got that neutral.
And now Spawn Legacy is going to force Elise to stay up here for a little while. He can kill Elise if Elise makes a mistake. Now he can't because Golly's shown up. But there was a little bit of a window there. There's one stun. Spiderling, what are you doing? Just chilling out over there. And Armed Weasel shows up to just clean up this fight. Look at that.
So once upon a time, there was a Vi and a Pantheon. And once upon a time, both of them spec'd a ton of magic resist because there was this Teemo on the other team who was really, really scary. But then there was also a Talon, and neither of them had a single armor item in their inventories, and they both got completely melted. The end.
It's almost like he doesn't need the last Whisper, considering how they've built.
Yeah. There's no armor on this entire team. You have the Aegis on Janna, but that only provides magic resist. Now you have a Chain Vest being picked up by Pantheon. Janna, of course, also having the Moonflare Spellblade, and then you have the Arm Guard on Brand. But there's virtually no armor on this entire team. And against the terror that Talon and Riven are, I just can't believe they haven't built any armor at all.
So Armweasel has 44 armor pen plus a last Whisper. That's... And just look what he does to Bahamut there. Just dashes in. He gets crowd controlled immediately because that's how you have to treat that situation. Throws a rake down, manages to escape, still has the Speed Shrine and Storm Shield, turns around, starts beating up on Spawn Legacy. Pantheon has a shield though, so you have to be careful of that. He's exhausted. Armweasel recalls and doesn't rack up an extra death still. There's so many mushrooms. Generic kite.
There's a lot of mushrooms.
Kite him over it. Not going to be any time, actually. Bottom lane being picked
They
up.
actually got the 4 cap before the game ended, and what needed to happen was the 3 cap needed to be gotten rid of. So, the early game was very even, but then the fact that LPO wasn't building armor just allowed Talon and Riven to just rip through the team.
That was oh dear. Talon, great job in that game. And Archstein's victory looking pretty good, but all that MR against that Talon, that was a little bit dangerous. That means that Sofanda is going to take this game, and they're going to advance on to the next round. The LPO, they're going to be kicked out for this week.
So, if you click the physical damage Delta Champions and magic damage Delta Champions, is that before or after resists?
I don't actually know. I wish it gave a more detailed breakdown like that, but it doesn't. So damage Delta Champions, there you go, Armweasel. Remember guys, Armweasel's the only person with a pentakill in Dominion. He's doing something right in this game. Almost 40k. Graveyard Hero this game. Vi hasn't had any luck. Both games of the tournament so far, Vi been the most person dead. Oh dear. And we're going to take you over to the next game in just a moment here.
Yeah, there was